That picture's from 2 days ago. And the day before, well, so Saturday and Sunday, the mom was very vocal and out a lot, sitting in trees near the nest tree. So I thought the babies were starting to come out of the cavity and sit out and maybe sun themselves. So I went over, of course, kept my distance and looked. And the one that's in the cavity hole in this picture, was sitting out. So that was like Saturday or Sunday. And then Monday, I thought I'd check on them again. And this is the picture I got Monday with, I say the one in the cavity is a boy and the one outside is a girl. It's kind of stupid. I named them funny names. This is the one in the cavity. The boy is baby Barry Bardow. And then the one sitting outside, I named Blanche Devereux, like a golden girl, because she's, edgy. She's living on the edge. But so yesterday morning when I got up, Blanche was 2 trees away from the nest tree, sitting about halfway up a smaller tree, and Mom and Dad were out watching her very intently, and she pretty much sat in the same tree all day long. And then she was there last night, higher up in the tree. And then this morning when I came out, she was in the tree in my yard. See, the nest tree's across the street. So she was in a real small tree in my yard next to 3 big trees and sitting pretty low. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have to monitor this owl all day long. Well, about an hour later, squirrel comes out of his nest tree, which is one of the big trees, and runs the baby out of the little tree onto the ground. So I was very concerned. I mean, at this stage, she can't fly, but she can climb really well. So she started to climb up one of the big trees, and the squirrel just kept knocking her down onto the ground. So I talked to Brad. I called him, and I said, look, I'm in this situation. The baby's on the ground, and I'm a little nervous for, and because the trees she was near are inhabited by squirrels, and they're just going to keep knocking her out of it. And I said, what I want to do is pick her up and put her back over across the street by the nest cavity tree. And he's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. But I was a little nervous that the mom and dad, because they were right above me watching her, I was a little nervous that they were going to attack me or anything. And he reassured me that, they're not as super defensive as great horned owls. So that's what I did. I covered her up with a towel, and I know how to pick up owls because I banded owls for years with Brad, the sawwood owls. So I, got her real close. Talons are the bad part of owls, not their bill. So I got her real close to her body and held her talons out away from me. Couldn't see me, and Mom, even thinking that and I for
Shoot, what happened?
A minute, and then hopped down.
Your audio is cutting in and out.
Your audio is cutting out. You got to the good part. We wanted to know what happened. Did you get her back over to the other tree? Okay. Is she okay? Kristen's freezing, I think.
Yeah, I got her back over to the other tree, and hang on one second.
Right in the good part of the story too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, oh,
sorry.
no, mine.
Yeah, so I got her back over to the nest tree and put her up on it, and she was there for about a minute and jumped down onto the ground, and I stayed over, and Mom came back over and was watching. My husband helped. He made himself big, as I was carrying her across the yard so that the mom would stay away from me. And so I kind of left her there at the bottom of the tree and went back on my porch and watched her. She hopped all the way from the tree to my neighbor's chain link fence, climbed the fence, sat on top, and there's a tree in his yard. She kind of jumped to the tree, but fluttered her wings a little bit, got high enough in the tree, And so this is like maybe 2 hours ago that this happened. So she climbs up the tree, and mom had came in and sat in that tree. And those trees are pretty close together at the top to where if she gets high enough, she could probably jump or climb another branch back to the nest cavity tree. But I'm just happy she's back in a tree right now, not on the ground, being like mobbed by these squirrels in my yard. So it's been an eventful morning. So I can, I'll pull up a pic. My husband took a picture of me carrying her across the yard. So I'll pull the picture and put it up behind me. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet.
Gosh, that's a lot of excitement for this morning. I mean, I got up and took a shower. I can't top that one, Kristen.
Yeah,
That
I
is such
actually
a neat.
just got out of the shower.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
what I was
wondered.
thinking on here.
What a beautiful. They're
So
beautiful.
there they both are.
Yes. Oh my gosh, they're just gorgeous.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd have to monitor them that much, but with her being out of the nest cavity and not being able to fly, it's, I'm going to have to keep watching them, make sure, because, their first year, is their survival years when all birds, their first year is when they have trouble surviving. So, all right, I'm going to look for a picture to put up of.
If you decided which one is the mom bird and which one's the dad bird?
How did I decide that?
Yes.
Because she is much bigger than he is. And I can tell she's a little more brown than he is. And she is a lot bigger than he is.
Interesting. I didn't
So
realize they were that
I have
size
pictures
different.
of both of them, and I'll try and put them up on my background so you guys can see.
Cool. Thank you.
Give me a second. My birds inside are going crazy, so I'm going to close the door. And
It's like
I'll try to do that when
Christmas,
we're
actually.
talking about other things right now.
You've always got something interesting going on at your house, so thank you for sharing.
I didn't want it to be that exciting this morning.
We're taking a road trip tomorrow up to see the owlets.
You guys are more than welcome anytime. I mean,
We'll bring our lunch and our chairs so we can sit 6 feet away and
Yeah.
watch the owlets as they figure out whether they can make it or not. I imagine those squirrels were just horrendous because there's so many out right now. They are just, oh my goodness. Yes.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone to Coffee and COrVIDs extended through May. So we'll be doing this through May 27th. So thank you for joining. I think most of you have been here before. Just so you guys know, I am attempting to go live on Facebook with this right now. There's a 30-second delay, but we figured out last week how to do live Zooms on Facebook. So we'll see if we get some other people to join us on Zoom here. Before we I do have a little plug, just a reminder that everyone, this Saturday is Global Big Day. So make sure you get out and go birding and record it on your eBird. I made a this hasn't gone live on Facebook yet. So until that pops up, you guys will be the first ones to see it. So Indiana is really we're pushing to get in the top 20 states. We've previously been averaging about number 23 for checklist count. So if you guys could all get out there, even if it's just from your backyard, and use the hashtag BigIn20. So we're trying to push again to be in the top 20 states. We've been number 23, but just something fun that'll be going out as a post later in the day. So make sure you're out logging your birding on Global Big Day. Even if you don't already do it, do it every day if you can, but. All right. So today I just have quick trivia just for fun. We always like to start off with some wake up trivia. I'm not going to put it on the screen because I don't want to overload it since we're trying to go live on Zoom. So I'll save that for the ID at the end. Looks like you're indeed live. Awesome. So question, we'll just do, you don't have to do it in the chat. You can just say it out loud, your guess. So by popular demand, I did do ducks this week, Finn. So I hope you're excited, and some other water birds mixed in there.
I love ducks.
Good. So I hope you're ready. So first question is ducks are generally divided into two types. What are they?
Diving and dabbling.
Dabblers and divers.
Correct. You guys are correct. It's the dabbling and diving ducks. How many primary feathers are on a duck's wing?
A lot.
It's actually not as many as you think. It is
10.
10.
There are 10. Yes, good job. 10 primary feathers on a duck's wing. Next question, which duck species has the fastest recorded airspeed? Any guesses?
Green wing teal. I'm just guessing.
It is the red-breasted merganser. It was clocked at approximately 100 miles an hour when a jet was following it, I believe it said on there. So,
Are mergansers ducks now?
well, we're going to count that. I guess it was a trick question. I should have warned you. All right. Which waterfowl species has the deepest recorded dive? Penguins don't count. The answer is the long-tailed duck. They were recorded at approximately 240 feet in unfortunate circumstances that they were caught in a fishing net.
Hmm.
And which duck species, actual duck this time, has the shortest wingspan of North American waterfowl?
Blue teal.
Good guess. That's what I would have guessed. It is actually the ruddy duck.
Oh.
I could see that.
Yeah. And then last question, which duck species has the oldest recorded age? I always put in recorded because you never know. Any guesses?
No.
Is it an actual duck?
It is an actual duck this time.
Mallard.
It is the canvasback. It was recorded at 29 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, so that's all I have for just a little wake-up trivia. If you guys want to start discussing, we already got some awesome birding this morning in, thanks to Kristen and her barred owls. But yeah, what have you guys been seeing lately? How's the spring migration going? Any good areas you've been to?
On the really old duck front, I saw a post a couple days ago. I'll try and find it. The Senni National Wildlife Refuge in the Upper Peninsula has a loon pair that's, I think the female is 32 or something. It had her exact age. I'll pull it up.
Awesome. Well, I stand corrected then on my trivia.
But that's not an actual duck. That's how we had to clarify.
Yeah.
I always try to put in like recorded or as far as I could find.
Okay, so if you could see the image I pulled up here, I don't know if you can get it on the big screen or if you guys are on little squares here, but just next to me is on the branch going across, right there is the baby yesterday. This is the mom right here. Can you see that? And then this is the dad sitting up here. So he's a lot higher in a tree and just a little further back. But Finn, to see the size difference in them, this is the female, this is the male, and this is the baby sitting here.
That's pretty obvious even with the distance.
Yeah. And that tree is probably only 10 feet behind the tree limb that they're sitting on, where he's sitting way up in the high part. So I was trying to find a picture of, because I do have a picture of the male and the female sitting close together.
Are
But
these the state park owls?
No, these are the owls in my yard, Kim.
Oh, in your yard. Whoa.
Yeah, they're actually in my neighbor's yard across the street in an empty lot, but I can see them from my front porch. And they have 2 outlets. And you missed the story this morning.
Sorry.
So, that's okay.
I was
but,
after the birds.
Yeah. So I can talk to you later about it if you want. It's pretty exciting. I could have used your help this morning.
Now I'm wondering if we have banding charts for barred owls and if they have a weight range with the wing cord weight ratio on it and what it is for them.
Yeah, for the males and females. I'm sure that
Yeah.
Brad has it in his banding book.
Well,
So-
where's Brad?
I don't know. He said when I texted him this morning, he's like, well, you're going to have some good stories for Coffee and COrVIDs this morning. And I was a little hesitant and nervous about even talking about it because I'm not a rescuer. I shouldn't really be doing that stuff, but I was, with the owl being on the ground, it's, not good for them. And
I
especially,
think if you had called the rehabber, they'd have told you to do the same thing.
yeah.
So I found the loon post and the, let's see, it says the male was banded in 1987, and so his age is known precisely. This June, he turns 33. The female was banded in 1990, and she was already an adult. So the youngest that she can be is 34.
That's impressive.
Say it again.
The male was banded in 1987, and he's going to turn 33 in June. And the female was banded as an adult in 1990. And the youngest that they've known to reproduce is 4, and she'd already had chicks. So the youngest she can possibly be is 34.
That's pretty awesome.
Apparently they've returned and they're setting up territory again this year.
Well, that's great.
Awesome. Thanks for finding that, Finn. John's saying at his feeder he's seen some rose-breasted grosbeaks, orioles, and hummingbirds. I just saw somewhere on one of the groups someone posted a video of hummingbirds and they had like 15 at their feeders already. So I don't know. Anyone seen any? I haven't seen any.
I haven't had one yet.
I haven't had one. I did have a Baltimore Oriole on Monday who stuck around for about an hour back and forth out of the spruce tree and came to the feeder and back, and he must have moved on. But if I remember correctly, just the ones that have come, the hummingbirds that have come to mind, it's usually been mid-May. I feel like I'm not really going to see them until next week. I know people are seeing them, but I don't feel like whoever mine are, or the ones that come in my area, haven't been coming. But I keep looking. So that's, the Baltimore Oriole was just a, oh my God, he was so beautiful, so beautiful. And then a beautiful goldfinch and his partner, and then the cardinal and her partner, or whatever. The couples were out on the tree together. It was just kind of, this spruce tree is probably about 50 feet high, and it has a lot of birds that come and go and sit there. And I thought that was fun. It was just an hour, probably between 5 and 6 on Monday night. And boy, the activity at my feeders was like, oh my goodness. I felt like I should have a cocktail and sit out on the patio, except it was a little chilly. But
we've had both grosbeaks and orioles in more of them than we've ever had before. We've had up to 3 male grosbeaks in the last couple of days, plus partners, and orioles, at least 2 males, perhaps more than that we can identify. 3, you think 3? Yeah. And you're right, the colors are just, because we've got bluebirds right now, we've got cardinals, we've got jays, the colors are just every place. And the grosbeaks have just been staying. I mean, they sit in our tray feeder for hours on end. chowing down, or they go over to the house feeder and they eat safflower seeds. They're just there all, for hours and hours, which is remarkable for us. We've never seen anything like that before. So that's been pretty cool.
And I usually have those too, and I have not, and I've been looking for them. And I usually get several too, but I don't know. They're just going to come when they come, so I don't really worry about it. I sure wasn't expecting the Oriole at that quick, and I thought I would actually get the grosbeak before I got the Oriole. So it's just fun. I mean, there's a lot going on, and this is their time to shine. So you can get out. Today's nice. Tomorrow is going to be even really, really nice. At least down in central Indiana, tomorrow should be close to late high 60s. So good day to go out early.
At the risk of starting an unsolvable debate, we've been having a question about jelly for the Orioles, and specifically the question of, does it make a difference? What kind of jelly? High fructose corn syrup. I have been searching this stuff out, and I find answers, opposite answers, all over the place. So I know the last thing that I saw on the Audubon website was the cheapest jelly is the best jelly, and it doesn't make a whole lot of difference what the components are. But there are lots of people out there apparently who are saying, don't use jelly with high fructose corn syrup and so forth, because it's poison. So yeah, so I'm just looking for more expertise if I can find it.
And Brian is jumping right onto that one.
I'd be happy to jump in on that one because I get that question all the time, among other bird feeding questions. The best thing that we should always do for the birds is give them the things that are the most natural that they're going to find that mimic what they have in nature. And I don't know where you're going to find high fructose corn syrup in nature. Nectar and fruits all have sucrose, glucose, fructose, other kinds of sugars, the natural sugars. So try to stay as close as you can to natural ingredients. That's always going to be the best. The other questions then become much more debatable about, should I use jelly? Should I use jam? Should I use preserves? Should I use marmalade? In any one of those, try to stay with the natural sugars. And it's going to come down to those particular birds and the personalities of each one of those birds as what we find all across US and Canada for the attractiveness.
Yeah, it was amazing how many types of, the only thing we've ever heard was grape jelly, but people are apparently putting out all kinds of jellies and jams and preserves, and some of them are kind of, pretty fancy. I mean, I think they must be getting them from Forbes or, wherever these, these specialty jellies and jams come from. But that kind of opened things up for me, because I had no idea that they would eat anything except grape jelly. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, when they're coming from their, what we would consider their wintering grounds, they're already drinking tree nectar, tree flower nectar, and they're used to that. They're also used to eating lots of fresh fruits. And that's why when they come back, they're all over nectar, jelly, and orange slices, because that's what they've been eating, and their bodies are still, their digestive system is still geared up for all of that.
A couple of other interesting things that we saw. We've seen the grosbeaks on our suet and peanut butter, which I wasn't expecting to see. Because they're eating the nectars, but they're also eating a lot of safflower seed and black oil, sunflower, stuff like that. And the other thing that I read, which I did not know, was as they begin to nest, their diets change from all the sweet stuff and the nectars to more insects and so forth. And that's why there's that kind of gap where you don't see them at the feeders. And then because last year what we noticed was they were here and they were all over the place, and then they disappeared for several weeks, and then they came back with fledglings. And so now I have an explanation for why that was, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, those are great observations. That's exactly what's happening with them. for as much as a frugivore and nectivore as they are, once they get into that nesting period, those nestlings need loads of protein. And so it's one of their high protein kind of seasons of life. So they're feeding lots and lots of protein to the babies. Baby songbirds need loads of protein to grow the feathers, grow muscles, grow the bones.
So you think if we put out more mealworms, we'd be able to keep them at the feeders?
I would try, definitely. But what I would do is transition slowly in the amount of mealworms, just so you don't have a whole lot go bad.
Yeah.
Just that way they're fine, just a few at a time until they're finding them. Other birds will probably hit them too, but it's a great way to transition to try to help keep them coming back, and then they'll supplement some of those mealworms for the babies, along with all the other caterpillars that they'll be feeding to the babies.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan, for that. Anyone else seen anything interesting? Phaedra, you're up in Canada, Alberta, right? Oh, I think you're muted, possibly. Well, maybe not. Oh, maybe we just can't hear you. Oh, shoot. Well, thank you for joining us. Maybe you can get the audio to work. Aw, still can't. Bummer. Well, while she's trying to get that, about not super exciting probably, but I've never seen, ooh, what does she got? Right? Awesome. That recent? 2 days ago? Awesome. Thank you.
Shrike is an excellent bird. I know you're from Canada and pretty far away from us. Maybe you could put in the chat if you have it, if you get the northerns or the loggerheads there. I imagine it's a northern, but I don't know.
Ooh, loggerhead, she says. What are those guys? Ooh, cranes, sandhills, awesome. Those are great. Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I was just gonna share that. Not exciting, but I've never seen a solitary sandpiper, and I finally saw my first one the other day in my neighborhood. So that was exciting. I was out for a walk with my husband. It was like in a ditch creek or something. And I was like, wait, I found a new bird. So we had to stand there for a while and watch it. But I think it was just kind of flying through. But I'm sure it found its way back probably to the bog or something. So that was exciting. Has anyone seen, I know there's been a few posts about Western tanagers around. Has anyone seen those guys? Not gone out? Me either, but just curious. Request for hummingbird ID on the live feed.
I was down near Kinky Fish and Wildlife yesterday, and there's an area just, well, it's a lot north of there on 30 and 39. There's an old sod farm there, which is good for Brewer's blackbird. And they're not really at the sod farm anymore. They're just south of 30 on a country road. But since I was down in that area yesterday, my husband was picking up a saw from someone, so I rode down there with him. But on the way back, we birded a little bit, and I know that they're there every year, so I stopped and and they were there. So I was happy about that. That's a bird you don't see every day, and kind of hard to see.
Awesome. Yeah, equally as exciting coming back.
About that. That's a bird you don't see every day. And
I can't remember, someone just posted, I think Amy Kearns just posted a yellow-headed blackbird was hanging around somewhere, I believe. So
Down at Goose Pond, they had yellow-headed blackbird.
Awesome. Are those uncommon?
I think there's also a series of them in Northwest Indiana. People were seeing them at their
Goose
feeders
Pond.
over the course of the
They
day.
had yellow.
Yeah, there's normally every year one
There's also a series of them.
normally every year one ends up at Grand Street Marsh, but recently in the last couple weeks people have there's been a flyby at the bird tower in the state park, and then I've seen 2 posts, one from Chesterton and one from Gary, of them at feeders in the backyard. So that's mighty odd also, and they're pretty rare up here. We usually only get one in the Northwest Indiana area. But I think with people being home more, of course, and watching their feeders or being out more, there, more reports of rarities, and odd things are going to be, showing up more.
Right. That is a good point. Definitely. Anyone else exciting?
An indigo bunting just came to our feeder while we were sitting here.
Wow, awesome.
Oh,
Move your iPad over.
Let's see it.
We can see it.
he's gone. He was
Oh,
just
shoot.
there long enough for my husband to nudge me and say, "What is that?"
Oh,
And he was at the hopper where we've got safflower seeds. So maybe he'll come back later on. We'll see. Yeah. Not right now. Sorry. You'll just have to trust us.
I trust you. I'm just envious.
We maybe see one every 2 years, and that's how they come. We're like, wait, was that a bunting? And then it's gone. So I think that might have been our sighting for this biennial.
It's really a great feeder bird. I was going to say that I had the chance to have do a little birding on Saturday at that Westchester Migratory Bird Sanctuary. And there's a screech owl in a box there, which is really awesome. But the reason I went over there is Julie Bonema, who's usually on here, and Lindsay Grossman, who is part of South Bend Elkhart Audubon. They were birding together on Saturday, and they, let me know that they were in the area, and I went over there and visited. And then they wanted to come see the owls here, of course. So we came here and birded for about an hour just in my backyard. And Lindsay, pretty awesome birder. Julie is too, but found a new yard bird for me, blue-headed vireos, and just and 2 of them in the trees just on the north side of my property, which I haven't birded yet. It's very woody there, but that was pretty awesome to have those as yard birds too.
Awesome. That's exciting. Ooh, I think Phaedra's.
Can you tell us a little bit about the thing on Saturday, the big birding day? How does that work? Sam, Brian, one of you two?
Yeah, so the Global Big Day is put on by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and it's basically a push to get a snapshot of the birds worldwide. You do have to have an eBird account to participate, and then they're basically just encouraging you to get out and go birding and log checklists, whether you do it, from your feeder or in your neighborhood, or you go elsewhere, and you can do multiple checklists throughout the day. Just kind of fun, like sort of birdathon worldwide type thing. And they do have, so Indiana Audubon is pushing for Indiana to hit the top 20 states. So we've averaged about 23rd out of the 50 states. So we're going to be pushing for that. And I'll be posting a Facebook post shortly to try to just encourage people to get out. And I think it's supposed to be a beautiful day, at least here on Saturday. So yeah, Brian, I don't know if you have any other comments on that, but
Yeah, I'll be happy to comment a little bit about it. Since Cornell Lab of Ornithology is trying to gather more and more bird data, and with the decline in so many bird species in North America, almost 30% since the turn of our century here, they're trying to gather more and more data. Anything we can do to mark those down through eBird. I know scientists have been using all of that data and mining it in so many ways, from Cornell Lab for Ornithology, from Audubon, other groups. They're all utilizing it. Lots of research groups, lots of scientists are utilizing that data. So anywhere where you are, even in your own backyard, whether it's your backyard, you go to the local park, you travel somewhere, however far anyone can travel right now. But any data they can get, and what they've been trying to do, this has been something they've been working on for a long time that started in backyards. And it's now a global scenario, and the database is large enough that they call it a global big day. And so they're trying to get a single snapshot just on that one day, which is a really good migration time frame. Beyond that, they do it multiple other times of the year with different kinds of events. But this one is just a single day event that they're trying to go after. So anything you can do would be really helpful.
So we can kind of go from, if we're not with a group, Brian, can we go from like just park to park that we can get to that day? Or, even where I live, the area is just, it's right off the Monon, and it's just filled with birds. So I don't know if it has a specific location, and I do have an eBird account, obviously. So I would just input it there on that day, wherever I've been. Should those be separate? Those should be separate lists, though. If I'm on the Monon, and then let's say I go over to Richie Woods or something like that,
Yeah.
and Fishers, and just make them like that. Because I just do my birding at the Central Park, and then turn those hours into Cornell and the Carmel Clay Parks. But this will be a little different for me.
Do a list wherever you are. You could do a list at home. That'd be its own list. You go to a park like Central Park, and do a list there. If there are multiple locations in Central Park that are recognized by eBird as separate locations, break those out if you want. You go somewhere else, do another list there. One of the things I know that they're doing is in North America, if you do at least 3 separate lists on the Global Big Day, your name will go into a drawing for an award, and I think it's a Zeiss binocular. But do at least 3 lists on the Global Big Day through eBird, and you'll be entered in that drawing.
Sounds good, and sounds like the weather is going to be perfect. So, yeah, I think I'm going to try that. I haven't done that yet. So there's obviously a million places around here to go to. So, and I've been finding more and more places, which I think is kind of interesting as I get more into it. Didn't even know some of these places existed. In fact, one of them I'm going to go check out today. And I'll ask you real quick, Brian, if you've been there. It's over, where Richie Woods is, but it's the nature preserve right off of White River there in 116th Street behind Riverside Middle School. Have you ever been back there? I drove by that for years going to work in Fishers, and it was like, I knew it was there, but I didn't know you can actually get to it. And apparently you could get to the trail from behind the intermediate school there, right off of Eller Road. Do you know what I'm talking about? This just came to my attention.
I'm trying to recall. I know there's a nature preserve over in that general area near Richie Woods, but I can't recall if it's the same one you're talking about.
Yeah, really, I'll let you know.
A few different nature preserves around. We actually have a lot of nature preserves around Indiana. Nature Conservancy has a number of different properties, and they're not necessarily easy to find publishing wise. Silty has a number of properties as well. Central Indiana Land Trust, there's some other land trusts. There's lots of preserves around.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding. I mean, I knew that, but it's amazing that you don't know that this stuff. I mean, you do kind of, but you don't know where it is. And then usually it's somebody posts something, and then that then you're able to talk one-on-one with them and get that information from them. And that has been so helpful because I'm thinking, my gosh, near me, there are probably 4 or 5 places I have never been. How can that be? I think I didn't know about. So, and I've lived here 30 years. So I'm thinking it's just wonderful. And I love that people share their information, you know, and just if you really want to do it and you want to spend the time with the birds, it's just, I can't think of anything. What a gift when people let you know where things are. By the way, thank you for the Eastern Screech Owl.
I want to touch on that a little bit. That is one of the things that I really like about birding, because it's not just birds. I am into, like, just from birding, I have got into, you know, using eBird and how to use it and to see where birds are. You get into maps, to map your area. I could spend hours looking at Google Maps to look for wet spots for shorebirds and things like that, and, you know, nature preserves and finding out where those things are. You also get into, there's a really cool app that I like to use because I live, you know, on the lakefront, and it's called Windy. And it shows your wind speed and when there's south wind and north wind, and, you know, what's going to let the birds, you know, migrate north and south, and what's going to put them down. And it's a great weather app. There's, you know, and like Brad did the thing on radar, that, you know, to watch radar and see the birds explode on the radar and that kind of thing. It's not just birding. And then, you know, it's community too. You get into, you know, knowing people and places in the area where you live, and you find these little secret, like you're talking about, these spots that you may have lived there for 30 years and don't know about. And, you know, it's kind of into, you know, using what you have where you're at, kind of, and how everything kind of coincides together, like a, you know, land ethic type thing. It's, you know, not just birding.
I think it's kind of what it is nice for community when you think about it. Not everybody it has the ability to go, I don't know, far away or do long trips. I mean, you might be able to, and I mean, I'm hoping to, you know, whenever this pandemic is gone, and whenever, how many thousands of years it seems like, but thinking about what you just have in your own, and here in Indiana alone, and obviously Alberta, for those who are in Canada, I mean, I'd love to go someplace like that. I mean, I just think you can find so much just locally, and it's just, how can you not be amazed from day to day is what I'm thinking, because there's just multiple birds coming through, and times of the year, and summer, winter, summer, spring, summer. And I'm never cease to be amazed just what's right in my backyard when you think about it. Within just 10, 15 minutes drive, I just think how fortunate. And then, you know, I get, you know, like when you guys were talking about your places up near Chesterton a couple weeks ago, and I thought, you know, these are all day drives. You just get in the car and you go. And I just think, wow, I just think that I could spend my whole life just in Indiana, I think. And I even go into Ohio because I have family there, and bird around there, they just love to hear about that. But, you know, maybe I'll get some of those family members to get on board here. They seem more interested. At least they ask me about birding now, and before they would have been like rolling their eyes. But I just think we are so fortunate in this area of the diversity of birds. I mean, I don't know if you all feel the same way, but I just feel like I couldn't even tap on the number of birds I need to see.
Brian or anybody, do you have any sense of how many other countries participate in the Global Birding Day?
A lot of them. There are lots and lots of countries. From different South American countries, a lot of Eastern countries throughout Europe. There are some African countries. It's lots of countries are represented, and it widely varies in how many people are actually participating. But you have Australia, New Zealand, you know, parts of the South Pacific are doing it. India is really, a lot of people in India, and India is really coming on board with eBirders. They post tons and tons of posts in India. You know, North America, between US and Canada and India, are some of the bigger countries for the number of eBirders right now. but so many more other countries are coming on board with more and more eBirders. So it truly is a worldwide, global snapshot of data, which is really, really cool to be a part of and know you're a part. Your sightings, even if you get like 5 species, it's part of that. So it's really neat to know you're part of this actual global scenario where you're actually helping everybody, helping science, helping the birds.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, and like Brian said, you can do it. You don't even have to travel anywhere if it's just in your backyard or even from your house and your feeder. You don't even have to leave home. So just get the eBird app, and on your phone you can get it, or you can do it on your desktop as well. So it's easy, and we're really trying to push, like Brian said, to help with the science. So that would be this Saturday is Global Big Day.
Your indigo bunting came a couple days too early. Tell him he needs to head back on Saturday and stop by so you can record him on your account.
Matt Yagelski just posted in the chat, there's an article about, says 171 countries participated last year. So that might be something to save and read about.
That's crazy. Really cool. Thanks for sharing, Matt. All right, Global Big Day this Saturday. You guys want to do some duck ID before I take up a bunch of your time? Duck/waterfall, just so you know, / other water birds. It isn't super particular. All right, just give me 1 second to do the screen share. Yes, I can share that link on the live feed after the screen share too. All right. Can you guys all see my screen? Hopefully. Okay, I see some knots. That's good. I have a lot of things up and running today, so I just want to make sure that it works. Okay, everyone see the owl? We're good. Okay, chat. Okay, so for this, I'm not sure that this is really going to work for people to participate in the Facebook live feed, but just for fun, you can try to test yourself. But if you're joining us on Zoom, you'll have to have the chat up if you want to try to guess, and we do give out little prizes, which, by the way, Kristen, I need your address from last week for winning as well. If you want to private message me that sometime, that would be great. So we're answering by chat. If you're joining us from Facebook Live, just test yourself. Okay, so we're doing bird songs. Number 1, remember this is ducks / other water birds. Okay. Make sure this works. If you can't hear it, let me know. Donald. It is the mallard. Started with the easy guy. Okay, picture of a female. All right, next up, we got picture ID. Who is that? Now, some of these I did throw in some female pictures too, so. Any guesses? All right, it is the common goldeneye. Nice work. Got that. Right, next picture ID. Oh, what kind do you think it is? Guesses? It is the horned grebe. Nice work, Gail. And Phaedra, you got grebe. That counts. All right, next up, bird song number 2. One of my favorite species to see. Here we go. Maybe 1 second. right, let's see if this one works. That guy is the wood duck. Nice work. Silent bird, true, on the other one that I had. All right. Never heard a wood duck making that noise. Little like whistling, screeching. All right, picture ID. Guesses on this one. All right, this guy is the lesser scop. Nice work. Gail just likes to be contra. Well, she was right though. All right, next up, we got another song. 1 minute. Here is this one. Maybe. My internet maybe doesn't like how many things I'm trying to stream on today. All right, here's this guy. It should work. I see a lot of shaking heads in my video. Any guesses on that one? It is not a crane. It is the northern pintail. Yeah, that was a tricky one. I like to throw in some hard ones. Just get you sucked in with the mallard, the easy one first. All right, this dude. Guesses on the sky. It is, guys, we're on the right track, double-crested cormorant. Nice job. All right, bird song number 4. Here we go. Kind of sounds like a dog. Any guesses? My neighbor's dog. Guesses on that guy. Here, I'll play another one. It is definitely a goose, but it is the cackling goose. Small version. All right, what about this dude? Guesses? It is the hooded merganser. Nice job, Brian. Sorry, I clicked it like the exact same time. I did, like I said, I threw in some other pictures because sometimes if you just have the males, it's way too easy when they're looking all pretty. All right, bird song number 5. I will play, that was the male. I'll play the female. Guesses? Someone got it? It is the blue-winged teal. Nice work, Kristen. All right. Now what about this one? You are correct. It is the cinnamon teal. Never seen one? Maybe one day. All right, I'll get the other song. Yes, they are very rare here. I throw in some rare ones. All right, here's this song. Play another one. Any guesses on that one? A few. Hearing? That guy is actually the red-throated loon. I believe someone posted about it earlier this year, but could be wrong. All right, what about these guys? Flying picture. Guesses, guesses. Total guess. This is the Gadwall. Nice work, Ben. All right, another song. Here's the female. I'll play the courtship call. It is not red-winged blackbird in the background. That guy is the bufflehead. That one was tricky. I'm going to keep guessing coot. How about this guy? Minnesota state bird, which is where I'm from. Kamaloon, yes, good job. Should. All right, bird song number 8. Oop, 1 second. Play the male. Any guesses? Just gonna guess coot till it's right. It is the ring-necked duck. I actually don't know if I put any coo down here. How about this one? Blackthroat. You're birding in the background of my calls. I like it.
Yeah, because duck calls are really hard.
Yes.
And yeah, I just happened to hear black-throated blue in the last recording.
This guy is the American widget. Nice work, Gail. Yeah, duck calls are very difficult, but hey, gotta practice, right? And last song. Guesses? Here's some chick calls, it says. The guesses are just getting better and better. It is actually the pelican. American white pelican. Oh, too good. All right, last ID. The one with the shortest wingspan. Look at those tiny wings. They have a new nickname now. It is the Ruddy Duck. Nice work. Awesome. Well, that is all I have for ID today, but as always, we can stay in chat if you guys have anything else you want to talk about. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry, Finn, you said ducks. I always throw in calls. Come on. Can't request just picture ID. Although I was thinking of maybe doing duck wing ID. I had to do that in college, which is really complicated, but you may see that in an article in the future instead. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for joining us. You can stick around. Otherwise, remember that Global Big Day is this Saturday, and the post will be coming out on Facebook to kind of push for that as well. So otherwise, I hope you all have a great week.
You guys are in Indiana?
Yes, we are.
So what I did is I went and joined and signed up for every single Birds and Beers and Coffees and Beers and Audubon and Beers. And I have things that pop up and say, you know, you're ready, your meeting is ready, and then I forget who the hell I'm talking to. Anyway, I'm in Texas.
Oh, awesome. Well,
I'm in
welcome.
Flower Mound, Texas.
Awesome. What kind of birds you seeing down there?
Well, I just got back from the coast. Right, I have a place to stay right outside Aransas Wildlife Refuge. And we saw, I mean, all the warblers are coming in, all the tanagers, all the orioles, catbirds. I mean, pretty much almost everything. Magnolias, yellows, chestnut-sided, bay-breasted, black and whites. Haven't seen any ceruleans. All the Orioles, well, not all the Orioles, but mostly Baltimore's. And what do we have? My girlfriend is still down there, so I get texts from her about every 2 hours with all the new birds that she's seen. So, but there's a front that's just come down. It passed. I'm in North Texas, and it passed me last night. So it should be down on the coast today. So they should be having a pretty good fallout, either today or tomorrow.
What about shorebirds? Since she's on the coast.
Oh no, if they're not colorful, she's not looking at them.
Oh.
I do shorebirds. I do shorebirds, and her brother has got a place on Eggery Island, which is one of the best shorebird places in the United States, as far as I'm concerned. It's as good as Bolivar Flats, and it's very private, and so nobody goes there. And but the shorebirds, actually, the shorebirds are almost all very early. I mean, they're almost all they're all done by now, and in fact, by July they're starting to come back, and we're starting on the coast. We're starting to see them come back through the heading on their way south. So, but there we because it's complicated. I'm working remotely in Texas, but I actually work for a company in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in Oklahoma, they last 2 weeks they've got piping plovers, and they've got what else do they get? They got avocets. I mean, they're getting all the stuff that's heading north. So, but basically, it's all coming. So I mean, you guys, hold on to your seats because all the stuff is on its way.
Isn't that the wintering grounds of the western group of whooping crane over there?
No, there's so the whooping cranes, the main flock is in Aransas Wildlife Refuge, about 12 miles from the house that I stay at, down on the coast. But there's another flock in Louisiana that is a little smaller. It is semi-migratory. They don't migrate a whole bunch. There's another one in Florida, which is also semi-migratory, but the real migratory ones are Aransas Wildlife, and they'll go all the way up to, where do they go, Nebraska? It's way up there. But they'll stop in Oklahoma and spend a few days at the salt flats. So
we get the eastern flyway birds here.
Yeah, we're on the eastern flyway for.
But we're not allowed to count them because they're all released.
yeah.
So your birds are countable. Ours are not. But still really cool when we find one.
Yeah. Well, and so yeah, Christmas bird counts are fun down there just because, of course, the hoopers are everywhere. So, and the bird counts in along the coast are astronomical. I mean, they're run like military organizations. They have hotspot teams that go out, hotshot teams that go out to pick up missing species. And the guy who runs that, his name is Brent Ortego, and he used to be the non-game bird specialist for Texas Parks and Wildlife. So he has got connections like crazy. And we get to go on all the ranches, all the private ranches, because he was at Texas Parks and Wildlife for 40 years. So we're usually number one in the nation on that one, but there's always something to learn, man. Those people are good. Anyway, I just thought I'd stop in and say hi.
Thanks for joining us, Ron. That was actually really interesting because we've got Phaedrus from Alberta, and now you're from Texas, and all the rest of us, I think, are from Indiana. So it's nice to hear what's going on south of us, what's coming our way, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a silver lining to this thing. I think everybody with Zoom is, everybody's reaching across borders and stuff, which we never did before. We only saw each other at festivals,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good thing. I'm on the Tulsa Audubon board, and this is part of what I'm doing, is just trying to figure out what other people are doing and how to reach out, because it's going to be a new world no matter how you look at it. I mean, we're going to get connected in different ways, and hopefully it'll be for the better.
Ron, reach out. We have a pretty awesome birding festival here in Indiana called the Indiana Dunes Birding Festival. So
yeah, we sponsor the Lesser Prairie Chicken Festival in Woodward, Oklahoma. But of course, I mean, are you guys having yours?
No,
Yeah, we're not either.
Everything's canceled. I think they're going to do some virtual stuff the weekend of the 14th, 15th, 16th.
Yeah. The other thing I think Houston Audubon is doing is because nobody's allowed really. I mean, I don't know if High Island is open yet again. That's where the big rookery and all the migratory drip star and stuff that the birds come to. But people are going out with their scopes and phone scoping those things live. So if you go to Houston Audubon, you can actually get live, basically go birding with people. So, I mean, that's really cool. You go birding in places that you don't have to travel. So. And
it's something I had said earlier in the meeting that you might have missed. That's how things a sense of community by people reaching out, and that's how those things happen and great collaborations happen. So if you get a chance, check out, the Indiana Audubon site and the Dunes Birding Festival.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to someone the other day.
Collaborations can come into play with each other somewhere in the future, maybe.
Absolutely. Some cross-fertilization. But I was a little bit, I had a guy ask me, and this is like, I don't know, he was in the oil business or something, and he was talking about how he had heard that there were a lot more people birding due to this virus. And I don't know where he heard that, but he heard it somewhere. So, I mean, yeah, any publicity is good publicity in some ways.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably accurate. We've gotten a lot of like beginning birder email inquiries and kind of people getting started, just watching from their house or trying to go more on walks and stuff, which is awesome. Like you said, get more people involved and hopefully continue doing it after. So
Absolutely.
I like the idea of the virtual walk that you have down there. Is that kind of what they're thinking of doing next week for the birding festival up in the one that I saw? It was on the schedule, and I was going to ask Ron about this. So is it just like one person going out and they're going on a specific area for certain birds?
Typically what they'll do, there's a rookery, so they'll set up at the rookery and they'll shoot they'll shoot through their scope for an hour or something, usually Facebook, so you can do Facebook Live. And but there's another guy down here in North Texas, and he does a daily nature walk, and it's just with his phone again, and it's a Facebook thing, and he just picks a trail, and he walks, and he talks, and he tells you what all the plants are. And I have friends who are gaga over that because, first of all, you don't have to get out and get ticks or, chigger down here, chiggers or ticks or anything else, and you can follow along. But second of all, if the guy is good, and he knows all the plants, and so, it's like you don't just walk by plants. He stops and talks about them and explains a little bit, right? So it's kind of cool.
I think it would be really fun. And in the few that I've gotten onto, it hasn't worked out as well, but I was at the beginning, and I think people were having a hard time trying to figure out how to do it. I would love if we did more of that, because we have so many different areas within Indiana that we've got stuff going on at different times of the year. Like, we don't know how long this is going to go. We're thinking like, here's the birding festival. Obviously we have the birding festival next weekend, which it's going to be virtual, whatever we decide we do on that one. We would have had Goose Pond in March. We would have had, Jasper Pulaski in the fall. I can just think of, and there's probably others that I'm not even, I'm just thinking of the bigger ones in our state that are just fabulous to go to. And, if we can't be in crowds, and unfortunately for some of those are crowds. And so we got to figure out a way to do that, because we can connect. And then if you did it with people in other parts of the country where you might have liked to have gone and couldn't get there, how cool would that be? You get to see, and somebody who knows that area and knows, I don't know, I love this idea of this nature walk, because this time of year, everything is so beautiful, and I'm walking along and I'm trying to remember my grade school nature, classes where I had to pick flowers and things. And I'm like, dang, I can't remember any of this stuff. I need somebody, you need somebody to do it, but you can really appreciate what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah, well, what we need is really a clearinghouse for all the virtual meetings that are going on. And that's what I just went around, my search was Audubon Zoom. And that's how I found you guys. But there needs to be a clearinghouse. And I was trying to get in touch with Nate Swick. He was going to come down for our festival. I was trying to get in touch with him because he's been invited to like your coffee thing. A lot of people invite him, and he's like encouraging people to invite him, and he'll come and do a little. I don't think he'll do a presentation, but he'll do a question and answer. And if you listen to any of the ABA podcast or stuff, he's quite knowledgeable. He's an interesting sort. But I think the possibilities for that, because there's no expense, there's no travel, there's no hotel. You just pop in for 15 minutes, and it's a draw for your people too. It's like, oh, Nate Swick may be dropping in, or Jeff Gordon may be dropping in on our little meeting. But I think that's, I mean, that gets people involved. I don't know. In Tulsa, you know how it is. It's 5% of the people do 95% of the work, right? And you know, you're just trying to always get other people involved, other people to you know, do something, right? So
Guest speakers, all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
Audubon groups, state Audubon groups, and I mean, we could do it. We have, gosh, we have wonderful people here that, you know, they could talk about certain events that go on or whatever, and the birds and whatever. And bye, Kristen. Good luck with the owlets. It just, wow, how cool. I'm excited. I'm not even involved that much in it yet. I'm just getting my feet wet.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. We have Tulsa Audubon has a group called Wing It, and they're the rehabbers right now. So I mean, you know, if you found a rehabber, you could just do, you know, go over with a cell phone and do a Facebook thing on rehabbing. And I mean, cute little animals. Everybody loves cute little animals, right? So anyway. I'm actually supposed to be working, so I guess I ought to go.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
well,
I just wanted
we
to
all
say
are.
hi.
Some of us are supposed to be working, man. We are.
Yeah. I'm working hard. It's hard to tell. I'm trying to get this windmill to turn here. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. And if you can send stuff for your virtual things, I'll advertise it on the Tulsa website and maybe Houston if I can get on there. So
Awesome. Will do. Thank you, Ron, for joining.
yeah.
Thank you, Ron. Nice to
Bye.
meet you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great
Thanks,
week.
Sam.
See ya.
It's wonderful as usual, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Yep, appreciate it.